Good day. What in the name of Ysmir is a bloody cannon spike? And what does it have to do with rollerblades? Cannon Spike was another Rainnick recommendation. I had never heard of it until he mentioned it. Hell, I never even saw it advertised. And it was a game that, unlike with Zombies Revenge, was a pleasantly, surprisingly good game. Cannon Spike was developed by Psycho and published by Capcom in the first of all space years, the year 2000. This game was originally a Sega Naomi arcade game, and it was only ever ported to the Sega Dreamcast like the two other games that we've reviewed. And I have no idea why this game was never ported elsewhere, as it's a pretty damn good game and not a controller-smashing experience like Zombies Revenge. Cannon Spike is a top-down bullet hell game wherein you play as a famous Capcom character. You get Arthur, Mega Man, and that sweet, sweet honey that is Cammy. And yes, she is still in her trademark thong. Ah, the old days when you could still have hotties in games and not have the internet howl at you. Whatever character you pick, you will be zipping around the levels on rollerblades. What's really funny is that the bloody rollerblades are treated like the next big weapons development. The movement is quite precise, and the controls and camera never get in the way of you dodging projectiles or attacking an enemy. The enemies come at you in realistic waves, and you never really feel overwhelmed. You have several different attacks, a ranged projectile attack that actually lets you manually lock onto an enemy. Oh my god, it's the future! You have some melee attacks, and one super melee attack that is the titular Cannon Spike, that does a tremendous amount of damage to enemies, be they normal fodder or bosses. You have a good amount of health, and none of the enemies are so powerful that one bloody attack will knock off half your health bar. There are numerous health power-ups to be found, and the game is quite playable, even for less Mountain Dew-infused gamers such as myself. You will still need to hit that F2 key enough to telegraph the entire Schlieffen plan, because while this game is not as annoyingly difficult as Zombies Revenge, it's still tough as hell, and you have only 3 credits to finish the entire game. The graphics of the game are pretty damn good for the space year 2000, and would have wowed quite a few people in those days. The 3D models are all excellent, and are not horribly jagged messes, and Cammy looks as hot as ever. Really, this game in terms of graphics was still ahead of its time. The music is a bit bland and forgettable, sadly. The levels for the game are quite impressive, and the level textures are quite amazing for the space year 2000. You do not always just play on flat plains. Instead, you get some continuous scrolling levels that remind me a bit of Sonic Adventure. A good chunk of the gameplay is taken up by boss fights, and this can be considered a pseudo-boss rush game of sorts. And as one would hope, you have a bunch of memorable and hilariously named bosses that range from a guy in a flying saucer named Kabuki to the God Emperor of Mankind himself. This game emulates well with RetroArch, however I did get one crash to desktop halfway into the game. And lastly, the controls map excellently to the Xbox 360 gamepad. The game does not really have a story other than terrorist attack, and you must don the mighty rollerblades of justice and strike true and strike with precision. I guess that as you go through the game, you're fighting the foul forces of Lawrence Animu Hair Glorious Nippon Jr., and I guess he was trying to steal all the rollerblades in the world so that he can take over the X Games, I guess. Also, Anime Hair Glorious Nippon Jr. cements his reputation as King Weeb by having his very own cat girl as a girlfriend. This game can thankfully be played co-op, and once I get it working through RetroArch, I do intend to play it for a live stream cooperatively. All told, I highly recommend giving this game a playthrough, either single or multiplayer, as it is a simple but fun gaming experience. And so, I am General Lotz, wishing you good Jurassic the Hunted and good Musha, whatever makes you happy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and if you can, please consider supporting me on Patreon so that I can continue bringing you this awesome content.